Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge premiered in theaters 25 years ago today. And after a quarter century of changing tastes and a shifting cultural landscape, it remains one of the most genuinely singular films ever produced under the banner of the Hollywood musical. Or, for that matter, under any banner at all. Moulin Rouge is the third and final entry in Australian filmmaker Baz Luhrmann's Red Curtain trilogy, a loose, thematic trilogy of films built around the expressive possibilities of different theatrical art forms. Strictly Ballroom used dance, Romeo and Juliet used language, and Moulin Rouge uses song. The idea that song is the purest possible vehicle for emotional truth, that the things human beings most need to say to each other can only be said when spoken words give way to music. The film states its thesis early and simply. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. Everything that follows for the next 2 hours is an elaboration of that single sentence. In a retrospective about the film, Baz Luhrmann said, Moulin Rouge the movie was an attempt to reinvent the movie musical. It's not a stretch to say that my desire to do this germinated in the tiny country town where I grew up. There we had a gas station, a farm, but we also had a local cinema and a small black and white television with only one channel, onto which they dumped old movies and musicals. I grew up on these films, and though many of them are now considered classics, at that time in the 1970s they were sort of disregarded and disrespected. Later, as I grew up in the theater and in film, I studied realism, Brecht, and Artaud. I was a great devotee of Coppola, Scorsese, Fellini, and Bergman, but still I never lost my love for the musical form. What I found so interesting was that each epoch or era had its own musical language. Once I started to make movies, I became obsessed with finding a musical language that could work for now. As someone who had loved musicals from childhood, I wanted to see them live again. Baz Luhrmann's solution for this was postmodern in the most precise sense of the term. Rather than original songs, he assembled a soundtrack from existing popular music spanning several decades. David Bowie, Madonna, The Police, Nirvana, the Beatles, U2, Dolly Parton, all deployed as emotional punctuation, each song arriving at a moment when its particular register is most needed. Roger Ebert described the film as having been constructed with the melodrama of a 19th century opera, the technicolor brashness of a 1950s Hollywood musical, and the quick-cutting frenzy of a music video. And that thoroughly captures the film's audacity. But as audacious as the film is with form, it's also rich with emotional expression. Because when Moulin Rouge slows down, when the spectacle relents and the film allows its characters to simply exist in each other's presence, it reveals a genuine love story at its center. Ewan McGregor and Nicole Kidman have undeniable chemistry in the film, and Kidman's rooftop performance of One Day I'll Fly Away is among the most purely affecting sequences in the entire film. A moment of stillness within the storm, a woman who performs desire for a living, allowing herself one unperformed expression of longing. And all of these great emotional musical set pieces build up to a showstopper of a finale, a medley of multiple popular songs, all based around the film's original theme, Come What May. Moulin Rouge received 8 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, the first musical to receive that nomination since Beauty and the Beast in 1991, a decade-long gap that speaks to how thoroughly the genre had retreated from mainstream prestige filmmaking. That Moulin Rouge broke that drought and simultaneously broke the conventional rules of what a musical could be, represented a genuine reorientation of what the genre was capable of. The doubts of Luhrmann's peers who questioned whether such a reinvention was even possible were answered definitively at the box office and in the cultural conversation that has never really stopped. The reverberations are still being felt today. Just recently, John M. Chu's 2-part Wicked adaptation arrived with the same commitment to operatic excess and spectacular production design that Moulin Rouge pioneered 25 years earlier. Last year, Ryan Coogler's Sinners incorporated musical elements with a freedom and ambition that would have been considerably harder to imagine in a world where Moulin Rouge had not first demonstrated that popular cinema could accommodate this kind of expression. At this year's Academy Awards, McGregor and Kidman appeared together to present Best Picture, and before the announcement of the winner, they sang the chorus of All You Need Is Love to each other in honor of the film's 25th anniversary, as the audience responded with the warmth reserved for something genuinely beloved. If Baz Luhrmann's goal was to see movie musicals live again, it's safe to say that he succeeded. Luhrmann has gone on to make other great films over the years, most notably the critically praised Elvis. but none have quite recaptured the specific cultural electricity of Moulin Rouge, a film that arrived at precisely the right moment, with precisely the right arguments, and changed the conversation permanently. Ewan McGregor once said that he doesn't know if there can ever be an experience with the scale of Moulin Rouge again because Baz Luhrmann dreams big. At the film's close, Christian declares it to be a story about a time, a place, and a people, but most importantly, a story about love. It feels, 25 years on, like something even more than that. Like a story about what art is for, about why human beings have always needed to sing, and about the truth that the greatest thing you'll ever learn, stated plainly in the middle of all that magnificent chaos, is just to love and be loved in return. The Moulin Rouge of Baz Luhrmann's fantasy never really existed, but he built it anyway, and it has lasted in our cultural memory for 25 years. Moulin Rouge is available for purchase on Blu-ray and on streaming. If you haven't revisited it in a while, there has never been a better excuse. Let me know in the comments, where does Moulin Rouge rank among your favorite musicals? And which moment hits you hardest every time? And don't forget to subscribe to Fandom Frontline for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our fandom.